So, welcome one and all. Just to inform you about the Irish Credit Team of the Year awards, they were, for the last 7 years, it has been celebrating excellence in credit and rewarding the top teams in the country for the wonderful job that they are doing. And I suppose this year we have decided to step it up a gear and to define excellence and to give everybody, whether they're participating or not, an insight into how they can deliver excellence within their function. And today I am delighted to welcome Chris Saunders and Laurie Beagle of O2C Labs Forum International, who are sponsoring the International Credit Team of the Year Award again this year. So, Chris, in terms of excellence, can you tell me, how do you define excellence in credit?
Well, thanks very much for the question, Declan, and thanks very much for having us on your podcast here. How do I define a credit excellence? I think the most important thing for an organisation and for the team is to try and create a credit awareness in the business. Many organizations that we see from a consulting perspective and from the conversations that we have, they struggle with trying to make sure that the business understands what credit do, what billing do, what the order to cash process is,
Yeah.
And why it's important that they do things in a certain way. So if you can create that credit awareness within the organization, that's the sort of thing that will drive excellence. And the organizations that we work with that have got that nailed down tend to be the ones that provide and are the higher performing teams and provide better working capital management to their organization. So how does that, well, it's really around how do you work with the rest of the business, and how do you make sure that you've got good stakeholder management, and you're working from end to end. And from that point of view, stakeholder management for me is one of the key attributes, one of the three key attributes of a high performing team, which is all about credit excellence. And it's about having motivated and engaged people. It's about having a stakeholder management and really understanding your stakeholders and your stakeholders understanding you.
Yeah.
And finally, having a common purpose, a thing that everybody in the organization can get behind, and keeping that really simple, like a cash target and stuff that people understand. So it's about working across the organization to drive motivated, engaged people, good stakeholder management with the organization, and a common purpose, so that everybody knows what they've got to try and achieve. That's what I think excellence in credit management is.
In my own experience, Chris, and having sat at a credit manager's desk for a number of years, the one thing that I always felt, number one, I think it's how you look at credit as well. So many people see credit as the function at the end of the line. So mopping up after everybody else and as the enforcers and the debt collectors. I always saw credit at the heart of the business, that we are the people who decide on the customers, what extent we're going to do business, and the whole function that I took on myself and would recommend for other credit managers to do as well, is that our job is to maximize margin. That's our job.
Yeah.
One thing having sales, having profitable sales, and that's the job of the credit function. And to keep everything moving smoothly, that we don't have jerks and jumps. And what you're saying there is absolutely right in terms of being at the center of the business, with sales, with operations, with marketing, with everything, to make sure that everything flows smoothly from end to
Yeah, I
end.
think you have to think of it as a factory process. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I liken it to a friend of mine who's a baker, actually, but an industrial baker.
Okay.
So he wants to make sure that everything happens exactly as it should. And he can understand, for example, and they always operate a just-in-time approach now, manufacturing. So he's got to make sure that when the buns come off the end, and he produces 30,000 buns an hour, right? So when the buns come off the production line, the boxes are there.
Yeah.
You understand what you're putting in the front end, you'll understand what you get out the back end. And so it's a factory process. And if you can get that across to the sales guys and to the rest of the business through good stakeholder management, then that will certainly help you build that sort of credit aware organization, I think.
Yeah. And as I always say, credit is we you give credit to help us to sell more. So it's a pro-business commercial function. And certainly any of the teams that we have who are part of the awards would be very, very conscious of that as well.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. The point you say about margin. There are certain things that we try and introduce. If the credit control team can take to the salespeople, it's not. This doesn't need to be difficult stuff. It could be, underutilized credit limits, for example,
Hmm.
or it could be a different margin or something. If they can take to the salespeople, part of this is, well, if you go to these customers, we'll approve them straight away.
Yeah.
And it's that way of improving the margin, improving sales, and then you'll gain the trust. And I think part of the problem with lots of credit teams is that the salespeople are very reluctant for the credit teams to get involved. The team that likes to say no, right? So it's making sure that there is trust, and good stakeholder management breeds that trust. You've got trust between sales and credit so that you're working together for the same ends. And if you can provide them with some support in improving their customers, improving their revenue, then that's really that's a responsibility of a credit manager as well. It's a responsibility of everybody in the organization, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I would have introduced back in the day as well is what I call, I know O2C and order to cash is it becoming the buzzword for the uh, extended credit function. I think there's an argument for lead to cash. So before even an order arrives, that the credit people are having that conversation with their salespeople. Who are your prospects? Who are your potential new customers? Talk to me, tell me who they are, and then I can say who you should invest time in and who you should just ignore or walk away or take cash from.
Yeah. Well, if you're providing sales with the leads, then that puts you in an even better position, doesn't it? Because you've
Absolutely.
got pre-qualified leads before the sales guy goes in to sell anything. You already told him that they're underutilizing their credit limit, or that this is a customer on the same route as this particular business.
Yeah.
We can pre-approve them because they're next door to them. All sorts of stuff you can do as a credit manager, and there's an awful lot of levers that we can use in credit management. I think that the credit managers don't always see those levers that we can use, and we should definitely be more working with sales, as you say. Lead to cash, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of it's the same sort of thing, right? It's whatever the beginning of the process is
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
to the end,
That's
and we
brilliant.
have a responsibility to do that.
True. So, Laurie, you're very welcome as well. So just talk to us for a moment in terms of participating in the O2C Lab Forums, because that's part of what we're here to talk about today as well.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Declan. It's been a while. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think first off, I'd like to say that we actually provide can I say comfortable, certainly secure environment for our members so that they can share those challenges, they can share those successes, and in some cases can share the things that haven't succeeded. But there they can get that input from the other members, and getting it input from their peers is so important. We had a session yesterday at our forum in Birmingham, a bit of a round table, and somebody threw in a question, and I could have doubled the time available. It was just so many ideas came out, so many suggestions for how to success, and in fact it was all around credit cards, funny enough, and not a subject I thought we were going to cover. So us as O2C Forums International, we're providing a one-stop shop, I suppose. We're providing the tools, we're providing the speakers, we're providing the experts, and we're providing a lot of other things that go with it, like our webinars and breakfast clubs and that type of thing. But we're bringing knowledge all the time to our members, and hopefully we're helping them find those solutions. And that's why they come all the time back to and feel comfortable in the environment that we provide.
Yeah, and certainly on a personal basis, Laurie, I found that to me, networking was one of the most important things in my job, sitting as a credit manager, because whatever problem you have out there, somebody in the room has encountered it and overcome it. And I think, yes, the speakers are great, the topics are great, the agenda is great. What you learn from the people sitting beside you, to me, is one of the great benefits of participating in forums and just networking with other credit people. There's a camaraderie there among credit people. There's a passion there, you know, that's
I'm a great believer is a thing called credit speak. So
yeah.
that actually credit people credit speak to each other. Some people probably have a sales speak. So but we have a credit speak. And so and I think that's important. I think that brings credibility, I think, to what's being said, because it's peer to peer. And you're right. And that builds networking, it builds trust as well. And that's important.
Yeah, when we were doing all of the webinars and stuff during lockdown, the most popular ones, and Laurie can attest this as well, the most popular sessions were credit managers talking about credit management to credit managers, right? And people wanted to listen to other credit managers talking about credit management and what they did. And they were always, when we looked at the YouTube clicks, the number of people that attended the sessions, the record sessions that we had were when for example a credit manager was talking, and we had more people on those sessions, more people looking at those videos than any other that we produced. We had motivational speakers, sportsmen, all sorts of different people, but it was credit managers talking about credit management that people wanted to talk about. It was really interesting to see that. And we try to do it with the forums like we did yesterday. It was a brilliant forum yesterday from by all accounts. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, but I missed a good one. So
you missed it. You missed it, Chris.
Yeah, I know. People keep telling me I missed a good one.
Yes, yeah, but I think I think there is this camaraderie among credit people, all right. So and forums and membership of a forum, you know, it's relevant to your industry. You're meeting, you know, your peers, and I find people in credit are also very generous. You know, they're willing to share their knowledge, their expertise, their tips. It's not as if they're guarding these secrets. You know, I find credit people are very open and happy to help, and particularly new managers coming onto the role who may not know everything. You know, we know nobody knows everything, and people are there to help, which I think is very important. In terms of the importance of interaction, Laurie, in terms of how do your members get the most out of the forums?
By participating. We have this saying, active and passive, and we are always looking for people to be active, to share, to feel comfortable to share, get involved. You can't be sitting on the outside. You've got to be coming onto the inside, and you're going to get more value from that. We say to our members, please pass on what you've learned to whoever you know, and then maybe they will then come along and try it for themselves. And it is a case of try and buy it, because I think when people have been in the room or been at a forum, got the bug, maybe it's what it is. They see the message, and they you know, we have this thing, this vision. I have this saying that says everybody should take one thing away from our forums every time. I'd like to take 10 things away if they could. But certainly a minimum of one thing away from each forum meeting. Then it's been worth it. It's been worth it, their time, their traveling time, their getting there, getting home afterwards else. It's been worth it. And so
absolutely, that's very true. And I think that, you know, how to get the most of the forums, as Laurie rightly said, you get out of it what you put into it, and which is the same with all things, right? And with many things, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you make the effort, you go along, you participate, you're sharing information, then other people will do the same, and you'll get much more out of it. And we've had some brilliant presentations, and some scary ones when we're speaking about fraud too. we've had some great conversations, and it's the credit managers who come up with these solutions. Every time I listen to credit managers speaking, I was listening to a credit manager the other day, and it was again on one of the forums, And I was sitting there thinking, do you know what? That's a good idea. Never thought of that. I've been doing this for so long, it's frightening. And even now, you sit down in a forum, you listen to the credit managers, and you learn something every day, every time you come along. And for me as a consultant, that's great, because then I can say, have you thought about trying that? And the next time I go and see another consultant, because lots of ideas, not many ideas are original, Declan, as you know. So
it's trying to get the balance. It's trying to get the balance, Declan, because there is information we've got to impass to people.
Yeah.
So yes, so you're going to get PowerPoint, you're going to get the slides, but if we balance that with what I call it the gold dust, really is what we get from the members. With the subject matter expert and what the members are providing, bring that together. It's magic. I think it's magic.
Sometimes
and I think one of
the bunch that are the good ones as well.
Yes. Yeah, for me, one of the attributes of a really good credit person or a credit professional is that they are a problem solver. It's just in their nature. And I suppose because we do it so often every day, so every problem that comes up is just a situation that needs to be sorted. And I find credit managers are very good. Keep calm. Yes, absolutely. Well done, Chris. Yeah, I do like
Keep
that.
calm. Let the credit manager handle it. Yeah,
and all will be well in the end. That is great. Listen, it's been great talking to you today. I need parting comments. We're hosting this on LinkedIn, so I will put a link to the forums there. So if anybody's watching this and want to get involved, either online, in person, in Ireland, in the UK, wherever they happen to be, or whatever industry they're in. So I will post a link to the forums that they can contact yourself.
I'll ask our members to tell you what they think. This is at the end of each meeting, we use something called Mentimeter, which is actually a brilliant tool. And we asked everybody to give us 3 words which describe their experience yesterday. So I'm not going to go through the list; it's quite long, but some of them, and I think this sums up the forums: informative, interactive, engaging, friendly, insightful, relevant, networking, and the one I love the most, enjoyable and fun.
Yes, how you have to have fun. That is the important part. Listen, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. And thank you very much for your continued support for the Irish Credit Team Awards, and particularly the International Credit Team of the Year. Hopefully we'll get lots of applications. And if you're watching this and you don't know what we're talking about, I'll put a link to the awards. And it's a very simple process. There's no charge for applications. I highly recommend people just to put in an application. And back to what you were saying earlier, Chris, a lot of senior managers have no idea what goes on in the credit department. So just even to fill out the application form and land it on your boss's desk to say, will you have a look over that before we submit it? Even if it goes no further, that will be a worthwhile exercise and won't cost you a single penny. In terms of submitting the application forms, we have a closing date of the 20th of September. So there's a while to get the form. Number 1, send it in. Then there will be shortlisted. The shortlisted teams then will be invited to the lunch in the Royal Marine Hotel on the 15th of November. So there'll be a category winner, and then one team will be chosen as the overall Irish Credit Team of the Year for 2024. It's been a wonderful event over the last few years, and I'm hoping that this year will be even better. So thank you very much for your support. I look forward to seeing you in November, and looking forward to seeing lots of applications, and let's make our judging panel work incredibly hard to pick worthy winners in each of the categories. And continued success to both of you with the forums. It is wonderful work and something that's so important in the credit world, that we keep the networking and keep the information flowing. So well done on that.
Thanks
Thank you
for
very much,
having me,
guys.
Declan. Take care. Good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers.